Spor YouTube kanalına hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Dış Ses programının ikinci bölümüyle karşınızdayız. İlk bölümde Premier Lig'de Manchester United'ın Sir Alex Ferguson sonrası çöküşünü ele almıştık. İngiltere'den Alex Cable bize konuyla ilgili bilgilerini ve detaylarını aktarmıştı. Bu bölümde İngiltere'den Fransa'ya uzanıyor olacağız. Bildiğiniz gibi Ligue 1 maçlarında son dönemde çok fazla taraftar ve tribün olayları yaşanmıştı. 5-6 maç taraftar olayları yüzünden durmak zorunda kalmıştı. Oyuncular sahaya atılan maddeler sebebiyle yaralanmışlardı. Bu bölümde L'Équipe gazetesinden ve France Football dergisinden Timote Pinon bizlerle birlikte olacak ve konuyla ilgili detayları bizlere aktarıyor olacak. So we can start. Thank you for joining us today. So let me just introduce you to our viewers. We're going to be talking about what is the problem with French football fans lately. And why are they so violent these days? Because there have been so many events, so many things going on between the fans, between the clubs, especially focused on fans. They've been so violent. They've been throwing some things on the pitch to the players during the football matches in Ligue 1. So, Timote Pinon is going to be with us today. He's working for L'Équipe and France Football magazines. He's a writer, he's a reporter in these L'Équipe and France Football magazines. So, welcome again, Timothy. So, we're going to be talking these events in French football fans, between French football fans and between the clubs. So, let's start with the first question, if you're ready.
Yeah, I am.
All right.
Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
The football fans in France and many other European countries, they have returned to the tribunes. They have returned to the stands in the football matches after more than a year of lockdown because of the pandemic restrictions. But in the start of the new season in Ligue 1 especially, they have been so violent. There's some crowd trouble so far in the Ligue 1 matches. So why do you think is the reason behind this French football chaos? Do you think, what is the main reason? If you could just summarize briefly, what is the main reason they're so violent these days?
Yes, I will try to summarize it briefly, but I think that it's pretty hard to just give you one reason, because there are, on my opinion, there are many reasons to explain the current situation. My opinion, and I think that it's the same for everybody who is following our championship and more generally our football, is that being back in the stadium was kind of an outlet for some people there. In French we are speaking about un exutoire. Because they weren't in the stadium for so long because of that COVID stuff and everything. So maybe the most radical ones, I'm speaking about fans. For them, it was kind of an outlet. That's what happened, for example, between Lens and Lille. There is a big rivalry between these two clubs, and then they had not met for a long time. So when they are back in the stadium, they want to show that they don't like the team, the opponents. This is all about rivalry, and it becomes extreme because of the fact that they didn't go to the stadium for so long. It was quite the same during a game between Angers and Marseille. That was quite the same between the game between Lyon and Marseille too. So for some people, I think it was a desire to be able to demonstrate again their detestation of some opponents, some rivals, and so it created kind of a fertile ground, to this kind of excess, I think. And the other reason is that our leaders were slow to react, and then a vicious circle began, and it worked. So it begins. I don't know how to say it in English, but we don't have the control anymore at this time because of that vicious circle. I think we can say it this way.
So, despite clubs receiving punishments from the football federations, like money punishments also, why do you think these problems didn't stop?
Actually, I think that club received some punishment, as you're saying, games behind closed door, money sentences, this kind of stuff. But to my opinion, my point is that collective punishment, if we can say it this way, are not the good answer. Because if you're listening people who are working hard on this topic, like lawyers, like some association, like some fans too, some politicians, you will understand that individual punishment are way more efficient. Because first of all, collective punishment allows some idiot, if I can say it this way, to feel kind of untouchable, because they are doing some mistakes, and then it's the wall stand, that is closed, So, but the guy who committed the mistake will be back in the stadium sooner or later, So I think that it's the first problem, because the guy will think, yep, I can throw a bottle of water or smoke on the pitch without being truly punished, I think that it's the big problem, maybe the biggest. And the other one is that not all the clubs or president did everything to resolve the problem, to find a good solution. Because to me, they need to discuss with everybody, with fans, with the association, with our dirigent and everything by dialoguing, I mean. But most of them spend their time to blaming others, and sometimes even played kind of a double game with their fans, because they don't want to be in trouble with them, and so if they start to push them one by one, maybe they will have trouble with them. So they prefer saying that it's the fault of their opponent, or the fault of the federation, the fault of the league, this kind of stuff, rather than saying that the problem is becoming from their fans. You know what I mean? So, for example, I think that the most I don't know how to say it, but the last example we saw is it's when there were troubles on the Lyon stadium. Then the president of Lyon came to in front of the camera to explain what happened, and he was like, well, we could have play again. For him, it was not the good decision to stop the game, And right next to him, we had Thierry Henry, who was working for the TV channel, and he was like, well, what does he saying? He didn't understand why he act like this. So once again, we were ignoring the problem. We minimized it rather than saying enough is enough. You know what I mean? I hope I'm clear enough. I don't know, but I think you will get it.
Yeah, it's clear enough. So, like I have mentioned at the start of our conversation, in the football matches, many substances from the fans are being thrown to the pitch, being thrown to the players, and they are, the players are injured mostly. Is there enough security checks in the stadiums? Because fans getting things on the stadiums, like they're not getting caught by the security sometimes. So do you think these security restrictions are enough? The security controls are enough in the stadiums, in the Ligue 1 matches?
I'm not sure about it. To me, it's definitely one of the problem. Some clubs are maybe too kind with their supporters. For example, and I think that this example will speak to all your Turkish viewers, because back in the beginning of the season, we saw that game between Galatasaray and Marseille, who was really explosive. I was in the stadium. Usually, we're in the press stand with our colleagues and everything, but that day I decided to go behind the goals with a friend of mine. I was with the passionate fan and everything, and I was really, really surprised when we walked through the gate of the stadium, because truth is that the security checks were super light, but I think that because again, club owners don't want to get in trouble with their fans, so they're seeing that as a win-win, if we can say it this way. But at the end of the day, it's not, because everybody will lose playing that kind of dangerous game. So yep, I was a little bit surprised, and at the stadium that night there were firecrackers everywhere, exploding every 5 minutes. So it was crazy, and I'm not saying it to blame Marseille or Marseille president or Marseille fans, because they're maybe the best one in the league, But I think that we need to be a little bit more vigilant in yep, in the gate of the stadium. You can't just walk to a stadium with some firecrackers. With the guy is like is just telling you have a good game, and that's not how it works. It couldn't work this way, I think.
So we've talked about fans, we've talked about clubs, the presidents of the clubs, but when we talk about the Football Federation in France, do you think the authorities in France football take care enough about the situation, take care of the situation enough? What kind of precautions do they plan to stop this fan violence? Because we've talked about clubs, they are trying to handle the situation. Sometimes they don't want to get into trouble with the fans, but the authorities in federation, do you think they care about this stuff enough? Like they do think about some plans to stop this violence between the fans?
I think they just realized that there was a big problem and that they need to act. I think one sentence of our sport minister sums up everything that is happening right now in France. She said that what we saw in the stadium that night between Lyon and Marseille with that Payet injury was kind of an electroshock. She said that after that event, everyone felt like we finally needed to act. So, and it's just 4 months after the start of the season, so maybe it was a little bit too late. But by now they try to find some solution. And if we want to talk about law, about the global system, in my opinion, we have already enough laws and legal possibilities. I think that we have everything in our hands to resolve the problem. The main problem is that some people were closing their eyes. And now if we close our eyes, we can't resolve the problem. So then if you're trying to resolve it, and if you try to be honest and say, yep, there is a problem, we need to act, I think that part of the problem will already be solved. So let's see what they will do.
Okay, so you've mentioned Dimitri Payet and Marseille. Dimitri Payet was the victim of the violence of fans twice this season. It has happened twice in this season already. Is there any particular objection against this player, especially from the fans in France?
I'm not so sure there is something personal against him, even if he's a spectacular player. He played for Marseille, which is one of the biggest clubs here, with so much rivalry between Marseille and Paris, then between Marseille and Lyon. But actually, we saw pretty much the same with Neymar and some other creative players. Of course, these two are really talented, but cleaving, if I can say it this way, because of their personality, because of their game. So maybe there is something connected between all what I've just said. But in any case, I think we cannot blame them for just playing their games. So I'm not sure that they are the problem. I know what you mean, but I think that if they are the problem, we have a big problem. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure we need to blame them or to put the blame on them. They're just playing their game. So even if it don't, I don't know to say it, but I understand what you're saying, and I understand that there may be provocative players, by their games, but in any case, they should play the way they want. They're not the problem, definitely.
So, if we speak about out of footballs, out of sports events, how much the social and social-cultural structure of France is reflected in these events? Because sometimes it happens in Marseille matches, sometimes it happens in Lille matches. How much does the intensity of this violence change region by region, club by club?
Actually, I don't know if I'm good enough in sociology to be able to provide you a good analysis and a complete analysis on this topic. The only thing I can say is that actually no one can feel totally safe. I'm speaking about clubs and president against what we just discussed. It's like it could happen everywhere, because what I'm trying to say is that you can meet idiots everywhere, in south of France, in north of France, in west of France, everywhere in Europe, everywhere in the world. So what I'm saying is that we must not stigmatize, I don't know if we can say it in English, but this or that region or this or that stadium, or fans, for example, like I told you, Marseille has encountered a lot of trouble against PSG at the Velodrome, but their players were also victims a few days before, and maybe they will be victims again. So, I think it could happen everywhere, and that every situation is different. You know what I mean? So I know what you mean, and sometimes people like to say that football is reflected the society and everything, but I would prefer to stick to the fact rather than the opinion of each other, or by giving you a kind of a global analysis, because I'm not so sure we can do it. Or not me. I'm not good enough at this, I think.
All right. So I know that you don't want to specify one club when we talk about fan violence, but which are the first two clubs come to mind when we mention about the fans violence in France? Which are the first two clubs come to your mind in Ligue 1 when we talk about fans, fights, throwing something to the pitch, throwing something to the players during the games?
I think that the most popular clubs here are Marseille for sure, because their fans are crazy. There is a crazy atmosphere in the Velodrome every 2 weeks. But like I told you, I'm not sure we can blame one or another club. As I told you, I think we can find some. I don't like to use that word, but some idiots, everywhere. So I think again we need to be focused on maybe most the president of the club. It's all about them. They have to take the right decision. I think that's what we need to look at. The rest depends on who your preferences are for, and I don't want to get into the game which some of our president play, because they're always saying that the situation is worse in that or that stadium, with that or that fans, and so I prefer to be focused on which president will take their responsibilities, and stop blaming this or that opponent or this or that organization. They need to take their responsibility, and then if they are doing this, we will not have any problem in Paris, in Marseille, in Lyon, in Lens, everywhere, and things will get normal. I hope so.
So
I hope, because what I think that I think it's a pity, because this year, our championship is very spectacular with a lot of great team, great coach. We saw a lot of goals since the beginning of the season. It's maybe one of the best championship in Europe currently in terms of football playing. And then we have some troubles with our fans. So we need to act, definitely.
Yeah, as you've said, it's a shame that these violent things getting in front of the football matches during this season. So, like, Ligue 1 is one of the most popular football leagues to be watched in Europe. It's like one of the biggest football leagues in Europe. Like it's among the top 5 leagues in Europe. So let's hope that these fights, these violent events stop before the end of the season, so that we can enjoy the football matches. We can enjoy Lionel Messi, Mbappe and Neymar, these kind of stars during this season. So thank you so much for joining us today, Timote. It was a pleasure to have a conversation with you. I know that I am sure that the viewers are going to enjoy your views, enjoy your ideas about this topic. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope I was clear enough, because sometimes my English is not so good. So I tried my best, and thanks again for having me on it.
Evet, Timote Pinon bizlerle birlikteydi ve Fransa futbolunda taraftarların çıkardığı olaylarla ilgili detayları ve perde arkasındaki sebepleri detaylıca bizlere aktarmış oldu. Görüşmek dileğiyle.